Hello and welcome to another Give Me 5 podcast by the Ashwaubenon School District Tech Team. The subject of today's podcast is talk about how you can use Google Presentation for a student inquiry lesson. So basically, let me start off with Google Presentation. If you've never used Google Presentation before, it's basically Google's version of PowerPoint. Once you are logged into your Google account, let me back up. If you've never logged into your Google account or activated that account, please see myself or any of your LMSs to talk you through that process. It's a pretty simple process, but you do have to log in the first time with a special password to activate your account. Your students also have this account, so I'll talk about the sharing aspects of that later. But once you are in your Google Drive, to get to a presentation, it's simply create and then presentation. Sure. And once you select here, it looks very similar to PowerPoint. You can change your layout, change background colors, theme, text box, images, adding slides, viewing, all that. Very, very similar. I will say this, so a lot of the transitions and animations that are available in PowerPoint are not available in presentation. So it's a little limited that way, but the collaboration piece makes it a very viable product that you could use with your students. So how can we get this to an inquiry-based lesson? We always talk about getting more student-centered, letting students be in charge of their own learning. So let me show you an example of how we could do this, okay? So I've created this inquiry podcast presentation, and I think the important thing is you always want to start with content, obviously. What is it that you're going to be talking about with your students? What are you going to be reviewing? What's the skill? What is the main component of the lesson that you want your students to learn? And then finding that essential question that you can ask them that if they answer, they'll get the gist of the lesson. So whether they're getting that content from reading something, from a mini lecture by you, maybe you give them links to databases, or there's a video link of maybe a flip lesson that you did, or another content available on Discovery Education or on YouTube or someplace else, or it might be Campus Library, or there's some other kind of resource. Maybe you give them some of a handout or other online tool. Okay? So then I guess the important question is, what are you going to ask? It's really easy to ask the who or the what question. That part's very easy. Who was the most influential person of the Civil War? Or what was the most important thing that led to Wisconsin becoming a state? Or what's going to happen next in this experiment? That kind of stuff. That's the easy part of the question. Okay. The harder part to answer is the why and the how, right? So why did this happen, or how did this happen? Letting students get into that. The other important thing, I think, is giving your students the freedom to let them enter in some random or interesting or other information about the topic. I think sometimes we give them a little bit of freedom like that they have some fun with, maybe the who or the what of something, if they can find something funny or something that's maybe a little out there that kind of supports what they're doing. And then the other thing I think is interesting is let them ask some other question. What else do they want to know about the topic? I think sometimes this will lead you down a road that really gets to students buying into the content. One of the things I want to show you, this is replace this text box with a supporting image. A cool feature of Google Presentation, I'll show you here in a second. I'm going to delete that text box. If I go up here and enter in an image, this will come up. If I click on search, it launches a Google image search right within. The other kind of thing that's kind of cool, if you want to say, hey, I want a green Jaguar, if I click on green, it's only going to show me pictures of green Jaguars. Ooh, I like this one. But if I go back to all colors, it'll show me this, so I can pick this guy. It tells me where it's from. All the images in here have been confirmed for commercial license, so that's pretty cool. So I can throw this in here. It'll make it big. I might have to minimize it. So the neat thing is I never have to leave this screen to do a Google image search. So I can answer these other things, and then also it's really important where to get your information from and have conversations with your students about their source. I think your LMS would love to come in and do a mini lesson with their kid talking about viable resources and why just doing a Google search compared to a database link or something like that, and talk about the pluses and minuses of those type of searching and researching. Now, you could do this on a PowerPoint. Why would you want to do this using Google Presentation? So if I back up here, there we go, and I have this slide right here. I have a topic picked. I have the question I want to ask. I replace the who and the what and the why and the how with actual questions. I have this slide produced. I can come over here and I can duplicate slide. And what I could do is I could duplicate the slide for every single kid in my class. If they're working in groups, I can have one for every single group. The neat thing is about Google presentation is multiple users can be working on the same slide at the same time. Once you get more than 2 or 3 people working in the same place, it gets a little ugly. So I would try to keep that manageable. But you could create 30 of these and have one for every student. Okay, you go to share. Within the share, it says, hey, who do you want to share this with? You just simply type in the names of your student. My students are Jason Dreyer, Matt Schreider, maybe Matt Anderson. I simply can just add them in, give them editing rights. I can only give them commenting rights or viewing rights, but I want to give them editing rights. Hit share and save. Not going to do that. And then now this shows up in their drive. So they go to their drive, they go to shared with me, and they'll be able to see what's been shared. Give this to your students and have at it. Again, I think a big part that I kind of glossed over quickly, this is the most important thing. I know our students are digital natives, but we can't assume that they just know how to use this stuff. I would definitely model this at least once, maybe more, multiple times with your students, all the way down to how to dissect the content, how to pull that information from the content. I think our literacy support teachers would love to help you and talk to you about ways that you can dive into those reading content, as well as numerous professional developments that you guys have already been to on that topic. But I would show them how. I would talk about how to add all this, show them what a great slide looks like. I don't think the format has to look like this. You can tell them you don't care what their slide looks like as long as they have all this content. But then the neat thing is, as a teacher, when you're all done, you'd have 30 slides that are all completed. You go to view, you go to presentation mode, and with a click of a button, you could then rotate through the different slides and see how everyone in your class is answering that essential question or that inquiry-based question. I think it's a pretty cool tool for that. Really easy to collaborate, really easy to do in a live setting. I think Google Presentation is an awesome tool to use. Oh, I lost my audio there for a second. Again, to finish my sentence, I think Google Presentation is an awesome tool to use as a host site of content that you can use in a collaborative space, just like I modeled for you. If you have any questions about how you can use Google Presentation in your classroom to set up a lesson like this, I would love to help. Just send me an email or give me a phone call, and we can set that up. Thanks, and have a great day.